Now, let's start the program. Nigeria's president and vice president have joined voices advising those calling for the country's breakup to have a rethink because they intend to keep the country united. And that's understandable. No Nigerian president wants Nigeria to disintegrate under his watch. President Muhammadu Buhari, while dismissing unprecedented calls for the breakup of Nigeria, said Nigerians are stronger together than apart. And he advised everyone to play their part in building a greater Nigeria without forgetting the lessons of the Civil War.
Despite occasional inter-ethnic tensions in our national history, it seems to me that we have all agreed on one point, that notwithstanding our diversity of ethnicity, culture, language, and religion, Nigerians are better together, even stronger together. I can also relate personally to the ideals of one Nigeria. As a military officer, I have served with great comrades from all the nooks and crannies of our country. I have seen over and over again that their goodness or failings do not depend on ethnicity or religion. In the course of my career, I have also been opportune to serve in all parts of Nigeria, seeing firsthand the enticing possibilities of a strong, united nation.
People are stronger, are more powerful together than apart. For the purveyors of breaking up into small components, into small countries, perhaps they should be reminded that we would not have been able to accept Governor Ganduje's offer to come to Kano at short notice, since we would all have needed visas to come to Kano. Let me also thank our brothers, His Excellency George Weah, President of Liberia, and His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, former President of Sierra Leone, who very kindly consented to participate and share their thoughts and experiences on the implications of conflict.
Joining us now to speak on this is former Secretary General, Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, and Executive Director, Lux Terra Leadership Foundation, Father George EHUSANI. Father George, thank you very much for joining us on This Day Live, this Sunday talk show. You just listened, I imagine.
Thank you,
I'm sure you were watching, to the President and the Vice President talking about unity, integration, Nigeria being together. But the major challenge that we face at the moment is that many Nigerians have lost hope. How do we ensure that Nigerians do not lose hope? The President and the Vice President can say, oh, we must stay together. But we can see across the country that many Nigerians have lost hope. Many have given up. How do we save Nigeria? And by the way, happy Easter to you, Father George, and to all our viewers.
Happy Easter, Ruben, and all the viewers. I say happy Easter to you all. Let me begin by commenting briefly on the statement of the President and the Vice President. Every one of us will agree that we are stronger together. We are greater together. Now, but to be together at what cost and over what terms? I don't think that simply because of possibility of greatness that remains only potential since our independence. We have been talking of this greatness as a potential since independence, 60 years. So, greater together, stronger together, yes, but on what terms and at what cost? Even the most vehement of secessionist dreamers are ready to be within Nigeria. The majority of Nigerians that I am speaking with, that I know that I'm speaking with, they are more disposed to be in Nigeria, but on certain conditions, around certain terms. If we have a social contract, what are the terms of that contract? Many Nigerians are not ready to say, okay, we will keep Nigeria one as a task that must be done upon our dead body. No, people want fundamental freedoms. People want to know that they have basic rights that are respected and that are protected by those who superintend our affairs, the government. People want to know that they are treated fairly, that there are no set of rules for one group of people and another set of rules for others, but that there are equitable standards around which we operate. That every child growing up in this country, whether you are born in Calabar, or you are born in Warri, or you are born in Lagos, or Kano, or Sokoto, or Maiduguri, that we have equal opportunities. But the way we have been organized, or do I say disorganized, the way we have managed or mismanaged our diversities in this country, religious diversities, ethnic, linguistic diversities, the way we have mismanaged them in this country is beginning to make people say, we want to go our own ways. A few years ago, the kind of sympathy that secessionists are getting today, a few years ago, they won't get those kind of sympathies. But secessionist champions are beginning to get sympathy in our country today, unfortunately, because of the circumstances around which we are living, because of the manner of running the affairs of this country in the last few years. There are people who do not think that they can realize their lives' aspirations in Nigeria as presently configured. And so they want to opt out. They want to go somewhere else. They want to have their own entity. It is unfortunate. I mean, we have traveled together for so long. From 1914 to today is over 100 years. And even before 1914, we have been interacting with business and culturally. We have been interacting for more than 100 years. So in 2021, for us to now be having from north to south and east and west, to be having secessionist grievances over, leaving the country, and we're raising champions of secession everywhere. It is a very unfortunate development, and it is a commentary on what have we done to achieve a measure of national integration. What have those who are running our affairs, what have they done for us to achieve a measure of national cohesion? How it come that we are more divided today than we were 10 years ago, 20 years ago? How come that we are going towards where we were before the 1966 and 1967 coup? So something is responsible for the call for secession today. Something is responsible for the Yorubas calling for Dua Republic, Niger Delta calling for this, and IPOB calling. Something is responsible. That is why many people have been saying we need to get together to talk. We need to review the various national conference, national dialogue documents over the years that have been gathering dust, that nothing has been done about them. Because a lot of the issues that are causing crisis today have been dealt with in a number of these conferences, but they were never implemented. Recommendations were made. Widespread consensus was achieved over a number of the issues that are causing problems today. I mean, how come that in 2021 we're still discussing whether we can have state police or we cannot have state police? It is clear that one police force cannot manage our increasing security challenges. And yet, we are still discussing whether we can have this or whether we can. It was already discussed in a number of previous national dialogues. And there was a measure of consensus about it. Then there are other areas, devolution of powers, that we say we are running a federal system, and the exclusive list has so many items in it. What kind of a federation is that? So the idea of devolution of powers to the federating units, so that the center is not so heavy, so that one does not have to come from Calabar or from Maiduguri to Abuja every month to get whatever that you can get in your region. So it is the manner in which we have run our affairs. It is the manner in which we have mismanaged our diversities. It is the manner in which there is a sense of injustice. I say to people that questions of injustice, whether they are real or perceived, are supposed to be taken seriously. When a group of people say that they are not being treated fairly, well, we need to listen to them. We need to listen to their grievances and do something about it and be seen to do something about it. And it is not a matter of whether you think they are right or not. Perception, they say, is half of reality. So if a group of people, and an increasing number of people, are disgruntled because they feel that they have not been treated justly and fairly in the union that we all belong to, those people are supposed to be listened to. And that has not been happening in this country. We have what can be called impunity in the manner in which our diversities are managed. There's impunity about it. Federal character has been seriously abused.
Father George.
I was going to answer the second part of your.
Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. The second part of your question is about hope. Yes, today is Easter Sunday. And the core message of Easter is hope. And they say when there is life, there is hope. Meaning, if there is no hope, it heralds death. What is life without hope? Easter is about rejuvenating hope in people, because we saw Jesus Christ crucified on Mount Calvary, and everything appeared to be defeat and humiliation and the reign of darkness. It's like evil has conquered. Then Easter is about Jesus bounce back to life, to announce to all suffering people that Calvary is not the end, that there is life beyond Calvary. What we are celebrating is the triumph of good over evil, the triumph of love over hate, the triumph of peace over violence. So Nigerians that are today, from north to south, east and west, that are today harassed by insurgents, harassed by marauding headsmen, by callous bandits and kidnappers, Nigerians can have hope. And it is our responsibility to encourage one another that this is not the end, that dawn will soon emerge, that what we're having now are like the last kicks of a dying horse, but that peace is on the other side of Calvary. And that with a little work on our part, we are believers in God, with a little work of cooperating with the grace of God, we can achieve that peace. We can defeat the negative forces, the evil forces that are bent on destroying this country. And to advise those who think that the only solution is to secede, is to go our separate ways, to say, let us work together. Let us form a consensus on a number of these issues that have been so problematic. And let us confront the Nigerian people with it. Let us confront the government with it. Our friends in the National Consultative Front, that's what they are doing. That's why they are preparing a new constitution courageously, so that they will present it to Nigerians. And when Nigerians adopt it, the government will have no choice but to adopt it. When Nigerians, when there is a widespread acceptance of whatever constitution the National Consultative Front or other groups that are working in this area, whatever they come out with, and we have hold town hall meetings all over the country and Nigerians accept it, then the government will be forced to accept it. Right now, it is difficult for the government to go through a process of checking themselves out of power. They will not superintend a process that will remove them from their privileged position. So it is us, the people, who must do something about changing the structures around which we operate. So I ask Nigerians to have hope. Hope that working together, binding together, looking for a critical mass to work together for a new country, to change our structures. Because the structures we are operating will not take us home. To do something about the great injustice that has been going on in this country, economic and political, to do something about it, to adjust our structures that will make those injustices difficult. We need to work together. We need to find people from east to west and north to south who speak with one voice. I am involved in a number of projects, including network and advocacy projects that we run at Luke Sterra Leadership Foundation, which is aimed at galvanizing this consensus so that on a number of critical issues that are burning the hearts of people, for which some people want to secede, we can have an agreement as to what to do and present a common front to the people. And I'm not just saying to the leaders, to the people, so that the people can demand a fundamental change in the structures of this society from those who superintend our society. And it...
Father George, you've said a lot
yes.
about what is responsible for our problems. You've commented on the drive, the demand for secession in some parts of the country. And you've also talked about the move by some people, the National Consultative Front, for example, to ask for a people's constitution. But there are some Nigerians who hold the view that Nigeria needs a Messiah. Today is Easter Sunday, the day when we are celebrating the resurrection of the Messiah. Do you think that Nigeria can at some point, perhaps in 2023, get a messianic figure who can help solve the problems?
First of all, talking about 2023, the circumstances of our country today, the violence all over the place, the heightened banditry and terrorism all over the place, I am one of those who continue to wonder whether there will be 2023 in terms of having the elections based on the present structures. I am one of those who believe that we need to work seriously in overhauling our present political and economic structures before 2023 if this system is not to crash on its head. So having said that, talking about Easter and the fact of a Messiah, well, a Messiah has already come, Jesus Christ. What we need is to apply the values and virtues and principles of this Messiah, and it will transform any society. I am one of those who believe that the Christian gospel, the message of Jesus, is the most potent force for social and national transformation if we take it seriously. If we use those principles, the principle of love of neighbor as yourself, the principle of deferred gratification. Jesus suffered and died on the cross for the benefit of the people that he was leading or he's leading. Now, we need people who will emerge in this society with a similar kind of passion for those they lead. He stooped down and washed the feet of his disciples. He died so that his followers may live. He shed his blood. He had his body broken. So a quintessential example of leadership as service, leadership as sacrifice. Now, what we have in our society are people who seize power and subjugate the people. Those who seize power and then hold the key of the national treasury and treat it as if it was a private fiefdom. This is the problem, that we do not have leaders after the fashion of Jesus Christ. We do not have leaders that truly care. Leaders who have a passion for the welfare of the people, for the common good. I don't know how much our leaders understand what is common good. Now, we lost an African leader in Tanzania recently, and we're told that in the 5.5 years of his stay, he never went outside the country because he said, this is where we need to fix. He never went for medical care outside the country. He never went on holidays outside the country throughout the period for over 5 years. He was an example of a leader, a true African leader who believes that the country can make it if we harness the human and material resources of the society rather than junketing around the globe.
You are talking about John Magufuli, but you know that the same John Magufuli did not provide necessary leadership with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. He misled the people. He was talking about prayers. He was talking about anointing oil, and many people criticized him for that. And when he died, he didn't get sympathy for the kind of leadership that he provided.
Well, I have read a number of speeches given at his funeral. I have read a number of reviews of his 5 years in power, and there are other perspectives, Ruben, about that. Because, as you know, he was not the only one who had views. There were all kinds of controversial views. Till today, there are all kinds of controversial views. I am not a scientist, so I'm not into all that. But I would not fault him in the sense that things have happened. Things have happened in history, right up to our own country. You remember the Pfizer experiment. Things have happened. You remember the Tuskegee experiment. You remember the Flint experiment. things have happened that makes the black race suspicious of any of these things. So let's not be too quick to condemn John Magufuli for his views, because there were bases for his having his suspicion. He could have carried it too far, but there were bases for it, which is why at his death, did you see the kind of applause? Tanzanians were removing their dress and putting on the ground for his hearse to pass. That showed that he impressed them. He was called bulldozer by the way he was helping to develop the country from the resources of the country. Now, so every leader will have his upside and downside, and not everyone will accept that he was such a wonderful human being. But within his country and in many parts of Africa, many people believe that we lost a great leader, even if he did not agree with the narrative on COVID-19. So I am saying we need leaders that can demonstrate his kind of passion for the people, his kind of love for his people, and who believe that God has put all the resources in our environment to take care of a lot of things, rather than the leader thinking that everything has to come from outside. To that extent, I subscribe to his views.
Well, Father George, I'll come back to that issue about COVID-19 and how leadership can make a difference. But let me take you back to the point about messianism, the messianic leader. In 2015, many Nigerians believe that President Buhari would save Nigeria, given his experience as a military leader, as a former head of state, and as someone who was associated with certain ethical values. Now, ethics in leadership. Do you think that President Buhari has been able to live up to the billing as someone who was projected as a messianic leader, particularly with regard to the three areas of engagement that he talked about: security, the economy, and fighting corruption, anti-corruption, as they call it, SEA?
Unfortunately, the report card of the present regime is not a very wonderful one. Just look at the environment from north to south and east and west. The violence all over the place. We are almost on our own. I mean, when it comes to the sense of security in the country, we are on our own. It's like we are on our own. We even heard statements from state officials that we should protect ourselves. And we see senior state officials who are posing for pictures with bandits bearing AK-47 and ammunition. We have seen those pictures on TV and in newspapers. What do you want the average Nigerian to think? That we are on our own. That security, that is the primary responsibility of government, from that point of view, the government is comatose. From point of view of protecting the citizens of Nigeria. Even in Abuja here, many people at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. cannot be safely, confidently on the road because we are not sure of our safety. I mean, sadly, I was watching a video yesterday of a Nigerian who came to Nigeria and got shot. Actually, a priest who got shot in Nigeria on the way as he was driving on an expressway. And he got shot and he was bleeding, as if bleeding to death, for 6 hours. There was just some young man who doesn't know anything about medicine with him, and he bled for 6 hours before any help came. 6 hours. What modern society? Somebody shot by robbers or bandits and will bleed for 6 hours before any help will come. Such a society is a failing society. And the leaders don't want to hear that it is a failing society, but all the indices of failure are there. I mean, a situation where swaths of territory within the Nigerian borders are controlled by bandits. Swaths of territory, bandits that are known. Bandits that some people go to the bush to meet with them and come back and come and give us their... So it means that these are not ghosts, these are not hidden, these are places that are known, people that are known. And yet, there's not much that the security can do about it. And every other day, we are getting videos from the bandits boasting about how they will terrorize us, boasting about even bringing down aeroplane, and so on and so forth. So it sends shivers down our spine as to, are we completely on our own? So under these kind of circumstances, clearly, the leadership is not doing well. The leadership has not done well. The expectations of Nigerians, the hopes of Nigerians have been very much dashed, because this is not what we look forward to when there was a change, peaceful change of government in 2015. This is not what we look forward to. I mean, that is on the level of security. Now, and as you know, your earlier question about the calls for secession, they are based largely on this, the urgency of the secessionist moves have come on account of this widespread heightened insecurity. Next is the economy. I mean, we do measure our economy by how much it rates with the dollar, for example. I mean, if a government came in when it was 150 naira to a dollar, and it is nearly 500 naira to a dollar today, that's clear. The scorecard is there. The lot of Nigerians have not improved. Nigerians are so many times poorer today than we were. And every day we are told, oh, we are setting up the infrastructures, we are setting up the infrastructures. The truth is that Nigerians are dying of poverty today. Our young people those that can leave the country are living in droves because they cannot see any light beyond the tunnel. They don't see when we are ever going to get out of this. We have conflicting figures about poverty, those living below poverty level, or youth unemployment. But it is a staggering figure. It is a staggering figure. You have families where one person is working, and then you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people depending on that one person. So the level of poverty, and it keeps worsening. Then what is the third one? The third one is corruption. Well, Transparency International says we used to be 25. I think we have fallen backwards. We used to score 25 over 100. I think we're now 28 over 100. Falling backwards behind other countries in West Africa that we were together in poverty, in a dismal rating with regards to corruption. And it is not about Transparency International. It's not about a foreign agency. Can't we see it ourselves? We are watching discussions on TV and on radio and everything about monumental looting going on in several of the agencies of government. We are seeing it everywhere. I mean, even before us, the person who was heading an anti-corruption agency had to be standing trial for corruption. That's disgraceful. That is disgraceful. So we don't need a Transparency International to tell us that if 100 million naira is voted for a project in this country, maybe not up to 60 million naira will be spent on that project, that the rest will be embezzled or used to settle people. We know that. You don't need a soothsayer to tell us. So it is clear that on the 3 pillars that the present regime is supposed to stand, those 3 pillars, they have not done well. Maybe they have done well in other areas. But security, even a baby on the street knows. Economy, well, a toddler knows. Then you are talking of corruption, fighting corruption, tell it to the dogs. There's no serious fight of corruption, fight against corruption.
Para George, if I may just summarize what you have said so far, yes. You don't think that President Buhari is the messiah that we expected in 2015. But at the moment, the president is in the UK for a medical checkup. And that was a major issue in the last week. People saying the president should have done his routine medical checkup in Nigeria. Do you have a problem with that? Do you think that those who are criticizing the president have a point?
Well, the president never traveled since 2018, so I wouldn't have mind if all I heard was that the president has gone on a short visit to the UK. That should have been okay. But the issue, there's a problem. There's a problem about principles when it comes to the president has gone for medical checkup. Many of us have issues with that. Reason is that while the doctors, Nigerian doctors, are threatening to go on strike, or some are beginning strike, then Nigerians, the leader of Nigeria will be junketing to the UK to go and see doctors there. And we all know that we have experts, medical experts, every area of medicine, the most sophisticated areas of medicine, there are Nigerian experts there. And all they needed is the infrastructure, the funding, the encouragement, the motivation, and they will do wonders in this country. They are doing kidney transplants in this country. They are even separating Siamese twins in this country. They are doing excellent work. We have excellent professionals, but our facilities are horrible in many places. Now, not many years ago, we heard the First Lady decry the state of dilapidation of the Aso Villa Clinic, Aso Clinic, which is supposed to be the president and his family and his staff clinic. The wife of the president decried the state of dilapidation of that clinic. Now, shouldn't a government that is serious about healthcare in this country do something about the president's own clinic so that at least for checkup, the president can do checkup with his own doctors? And I don't know how they feel, how the leaders of African countries, including our own, how they feel to leave this country. Nigerians are known in the US to produce the most educated national group. Is it a neuroscientist you want? Nigerians have it. Is it heart specialists? Nigerians have it. Kidney specialists? Nigerians have it. What area of medicine that Nigerians don't have? What Nigeria lack is necessary investment in our health infrastructure, better motivation of our health professionals. So for me, President Buhari that had, before he came to power, decried medical tourism and promised to so boost our healthcare system that there will be no need for medical tourism. Medical tourism that today is adjudged to be taking $1 billion a year. Now, did the president forget the commitment he made? Did the president forget that he decried this practice? For me, by way of principle, I will not do that. I would rather be sick and die in Nigeria than use my mouth to say I will never do this and that this is a terrible thing that Nigerians should. Then I find myself junketing for medical checkup. And this is not even an emergency. It's a different thing if a president has an emergency and needed to be rushed out. In that case, he may not even be in control. But checkup, regular checkup. Now, the experts are here. What is the Nigerian Medical Council doing? To say, we do have the experts here to check you. So I think that it was not a good move. It was not a good move for our president at this time to junket. What it means is that he has not traveled in the last 1 year to go and do checkups simply because of COVID-19 restrictions. If not, perhaps he would have already gone 2 times before now. So let us fix our country. That is where I go back to the example of John Magufuli. That I'm sure John Magufuli in 5 years did some medical checkup, but he used the doctors of Tanzania. Let our leaders, presidents, governors, ministers, let them use the doctors in Nigeria. Now, Ruben, you know, I had said before and I had written that the way this country will be improved upon is that we need to put it in our statute books, if that is what it requires. That if you are a minister of education, and you cannot be a minister of education if you do not have all your children schooling in Nigeria. Let's put it in our statute books. You cannot be president of Nigeria if you cannot have your health care, and your family people, your family members have their health care in this country. You cannot be a minister of power in this country if it is generators that are running your house. We need to do something. We need to put it in our statute books because human beings have what they call enlightened self-interest. If they know that the public schools, government day secondary schools, are the ones their children will attend, then they will do everything possible to improve the lot of government day secondary schools. If they know that the local clinic, the local general hospital is the one that all their family members will attend and their wives will deliver in those hospitals, they will do everything to prepare those. But if they have the option, as is presently the case, that they have the option to junket out for mere medical checkup, junket out for treatment, then we have no hope of our public infrastructure being put in place, being properly funded and cared for. So for me, in the new Nigeria that we're working towards, we need to, after all, it is experience of human beings' behaviors that make society to put regulations in place, to make laws, to say, look, you want to be my governor, you want to be our governor, you want to be our minister, you want to be our president. Where are your children schooling, if you have children? Where are your children going to hospital? Where are your children going for shopping? I mean, if you do that in Dubai, you do that in the UK, and you want to come and run our society here, no, it is not acceptable. And that would be fair, really, because all we are trying to do is to encourage our leaders to use what is available here so that they can develop what is available here and not leave us in this mess, leave us in the gutters and fly to where people like them have worked hard to improve those societies. It is human beings that worked hard to improve the German society, the Dubai society, the US society. It is human beings that did that. We need to be ready to make the sacrifices necessary to uplift our society so that people can be coming for health tourism in Nigeria, as they used to. UCH, University College Hospital in Ibadan, used to host people, including some princes from Saudi Arabia. Why can't we return to that, fix our infrastructure so that other people will come?
Father George, I feel compelled to take you up on the question of John Magufuli, the late president of Tanzania. You mentioned him about twice, and I get the impression that you are his fan, but I'm not his fan. We had great hopes when Magufuli took over. He had been Minister of Works, and he did very well constructing the roads. That's how he got the nickname the bulldozer. But as president, in his management of COVID-19, I think he didn't do well at all. He was talking about prayers. He was talking about doing exercises. He didn't follow the science. In fact, he managed again and again to organize national prayers. He managed again and again to stop the statistical reporting of the seroprevalence of COVID-19 in Tanzania. And he was not alone in that regard. We have had other world leaders. In Burundi, Pierre Nkurunziza, he also died from COVID-19 because he thought prayers were more important. In Brazil, we have Jair Bolsonaro, who is also not following the scientific protocol. What's your position? Are you saying that all these priests and leaders who talk about conspiracy theories, that they are right? Are you defending Magufuli?
Yeah, to a reasonable extent, Magufuli, but I mean, I am not with any conspiracy theory. I believe that science and religion do converge. Truth is one. Truth cannot be divided. Truth is one. What it means is that you approach truth from various angles. So there are scientific approaches to truth. There is spiritual approach to truth. And I am a priest, so the issue of praying is very important for me. So I accept that we need to pray, and that when we have pandemic, prayer plays a very significant role. But you did not comment on what I said earlier about history and about what black people have suffered over generations for 400 years at the hands of so-called experts. Experiments that have been done on black people. Is this not why the conspiracy theories fly at all? It is because of the experience of people. Why are the blacks in America, why are they slow to embrace the vaccine? It is because of what they have experienced and their ancestors have experienced and have continued to happen. When did Bill Clinton apologize for the Tuskegee scandal? When did he apologize? How many decades ago? The experiment. Yes. When did he apologize? The Flint experiment. When did he apologize? So I'm saying that there is a reason why some of those conspiracy theories, even if they don't have a strong whatever, there's a reason why they flew. The reason is that there's a background to it, that black people have consistently suffered. People came out and confessed how they came to parts of Africa to spread the HIV virus, to spread it in the African population. Now, when you read that, and then you have another person who claims to be coming as a charitable person to come and do something to help you, you are a bit nervous, you are a bit suspicious. My own problem is, rather than keep running around for all this, are you saying that after 60, 70 years of having medical doctors in this country and having pharmacologists in this country, are you saying that till now we are not able to, not only that are we not able to get our own vaccine? I believe in vaccines. I am vaccinated for several things. Are you saying that our scientists don't even have the capacity to verify? And that is the truth. I mean, if NAFDAC and all this, standards organization and all this, if they are sincere, they will tell you that they don't have all the capacity to verify the claims of Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or Seneca, whatever. They don't have the capacity to verify all the claims. And that is why I am not supporting those who are spreading around conspiracy theories, but I say that they do have it. There is a reason. It is because of the experience of the black race over time. And those who are supposed to be our benefactors in various countries in Europe and America, they need to begin to look at this thing and change their ways and accept us as equal human beings who deserve to live. Why wouldn't people be suspicious when they heard so-called experts come out and say there are too many people in the world and that we need to reduce the world population to about 2 or 3 billion and that African populations should be the ones that we reduce drastically. And you think that the average nationalist African will easily embrace the next consignment that is coming? What we need to do, Ruben, is we need to get our authorities to improve our capacity to do research. So that COVID-19 has come, there are all kinds of little efforts that were happening in this country, but it's not been able to get international recognition because perhaps they do not have the resources and the lab capacities to push it forward. But also there is a bias. There is a bias about whatever can come out of Africa. That is the truth. And we need to, because how can we get to a stage where it is the World Health Organization, one organization, that can tell us what we can eat and what we cannot eat, what we can drink and what we cannot drink? No, I don't think that is a good world. God created this world as diverse. So even to approach COVID-19, there should be diverse possibilities of diverse drugs and approaches in order to overcome this pandemic. It cannot be only one. And I don't think we should accept a world that it is only one set of remedies for a disease, for an epidemic that we should embrace. And that we now have one authority that tells us, okay, for example, we could have avoided at the first instance COVID-19 altogether in Nigeria. We were hearing about all this, but we were told that, no, it's not yet time to close your borders. Don't close your borders. And we didn't close our borders until it came upon us. And I'm saying that, no, we are a sovereign nation. Many of these countries are sovereign nations. We need to be able to assert ourselves in certain areas. We have experts. We have scientists. We have pharmacologists. We have doctors. We have infectious disease experts. Put them to work. Fund them. And let them be able to get something out. If they cannot get something autochthonous, let them at least have the capacity to fully test whatever is coming into this country. It saddens my heart, seriously, to say that we embrace these vaccines coming, these drugs coming, and we do not have the capacity to seriously test the veracity of the claims of those who produce them. It pains me seriously. Nigeria, with all the human resources that we have produced over the last 7-8 decades that we have been training such experts.
Well, in terms of testing the safety and efficacy of the AstraZeneca vaccine that we have in Nigeria that we're applying at the moment, I mean, the Drug Law and Enforcement Agency claims, and NAFDAC also claims that those drugs were tested before the vaccines were rolled out under the National Immunization Program. But look, this week, over 20 countries, over 20 countries. Okay, I wanted to add a question before we wrap it up on this issue of immunization. Now, there was a pandemic treaty. The leaders of over 20 countries, they signed a treaty calling for global cooperation in terms of ensuring equity, justice, with regard to a global immunization program. Although the United States and Russia were not part of, and China were not part of that agreement. So what do you think of this call that, look, there should be global cooperation beyond your point about Nigeria producing its own, because you were talking more about vaccine nationalism and research and development at the local level?
Yes, I will answer the second one, but I wanted you to call your attention, Ruben, to the fact that I hope you know that all the COVID-19 vaccines that have been applied today, they remain experimental drugs. I hope you know that. And no country has declared that it is not experimental. Well, within one calendar year, anything that we're applying is still experimental. It remains experimental. And NAFDAC approved what we got ad experimentum. It is experimental. And so if it is experimental, it means that nobody can say we have tested it, because for how long have you tested it? Drugs can have immediate reaction the first day, the second day, the first week. Drug can have long-term reaction. So you need a few years to be able to say this drug does not have negative side effects or adverse effects. So I wanted to say that for you and the viewers to recognize that, yes, they say when the benefits are perhaps more than the possible adverse effects, then we take it in ad experimentum, as an experimental drug.
Well,
but
Father, if I may come in here, Father, Pfizer, BioNTech, this week said their own vaccine, it's over 91.3% effective. And on the basis of that, they are applying for what they call a BLA, Biologics License Application, for a final approval. And that Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has been in use for a few months, since December, when it was first approved in the UK.
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that.
Yes.
And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is also over 90% effective, we're told.
Yeah, they can claim 95%, they can claim 99%, but I'm saying that I think the scientists have a protocol as to when a drug will pass from the stage of ad experimentum to a full treatment. Now, and I don't think any of the vaccines have gone that path. You are just saying that Pfizer has applied. They have applied for it, but they have not got it, meaning that all the vaccines that are being rolled out right now are experimental drugs. And there are conditions for experimental drugs. Of course, if there is a major epidemic that is ravaging a population, then people will not mind taking a drug that is just experimental, because when you put together the benefits and costs, then you say, well, if I'm going to die tomorrow anyway, then I can take something experiment. But it is not exactly so in our case, but thanks to God. Now, you talk about people praying, Magufuli and others praying. Well, are you really able to explain very well why right now countries in Europe during this Easter were going into lockdown? Why the last figure I saw for Nigeria was less than 100. Now, in January, we were almost 2,000. Now it's less than 100. For me, as a religious person, I say, thank God. It is praise the Lord. It is because for us, we believe that whatever the other scientifically proven circumstances, which I've not seen any research on, I think that God is with us. The grace of God has been protecting us. Now to your question on vaccine nationalism and then the countries coming together. Of course, when there is a pandemic, everybody is involved. If you do not contribute your quota to see that we bring the pandemic to an end, well, people are traveling all over the world today. Somebody will pick the disease, and was it not one Italian that came to Lagos that brought this in March last year? So people are going to travel all over the place. You cannot completely seal yourself off. So if US, if China, if Australia, if they contribute money because they have the resources to help so that even poor countries can vaccinate their people in order to bring this disease to an end, they too have something to gain, because as we have ended chickenpox or smallpox or whatever other diseases, other pandemics of the past, then there is no chance now that if I'm traveling to the Netherlands, I will take those diseases there. If we end Ebola, we end COVID-19 everywhere in the world with the support and collaboration of every country, then every country benefits from the fact that there is no more COVID-19 disease. Therefore, it makes sense the 20 countries, and we should encourage America and Russia to be part of the coalition to raise funds so that even the poorest countries in the world can see to the end of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, Father, I want to thank you very much for joining us and for your insights on a number of topical national and global issues. Thank you very much, Father George EHUSANI, for your time and insights.
And thank you, viewers.
Yeah, great contribution there.